Hello. I'm so glad to be with you guys again today. Today I have Stephana Johnson. She is a little bit of this and a little bit of that. She's got the whole package for business owners and leaders. She takes a holistic approach and she focuses a lot on your energy, um, your mindset, your health, all the things to help you be the best so that you can perform your best. And I'm so happy to have her. She's been featured in a lot of things, so I feel very honored that she's here today. Thank you for being here, Stefana.
Oh, my pleasure. Great to be here.
So, I know you do a lot of transformation. You guide so many people um, through so many different phases because we deal with a lot in owning a business and starting a business, just in general life.
Right.
A lot of the things that we have to deal with. Now, we talk about burnout in our jobs and our business, but there's burnout in everything. So, tell us a little bit about your background, how you got into what you do, um, and like when you started it, what did you come from a different type of work and then lead into this? Tell us a little bit.
Yeah, I'd love to share that story. So I've always wanted to help people. And it's one of those things where if you see something going on, whether it's a room or it's a situation, makeovers, I love the makeover. I love the before and after because I can see potential where many can't. And I think that that is so innate in who I am and what I am
Mhm.
in terms of creating and guiding. So it's evolved in terms of the title. Oh, you're a coach or a consultant or all of that. Originally, it looked like I was taking the route of becoming a therapist and a naturopathic doctor, and because I thought, well, that's the best way I can help. And, there's different roads that we take and life evolves.
Mhm.
The other part of what I was doing was I wanted to be an actor. I was modeling and acting at younger age, and I left home at 16 to go to New York. And in New York City, I happened to luck into, because I couldn't waitress to save my life, someone noticed that I was in fitness and loved fitness because I actually what the truth is I hated to exercise, but I loved to get paid. And so I would teach aerobics classes because sometimes the aerobics instructor didn't show up. And this is in the 80s, right? So it was just natural for me to get to do that. And then a personal trainer to stars, celebrities, executives took me under her wing and trained me, and kind of the rest is history type of thing on that. Now, that started me on the path of seeing the physical and the mental health and well-being of celebrities, of executives, and the difference in those that invested in their health
Mhm.
and those that didn't. And so that was really interesting to me. And that's still a very key part of my life. In fact, 25 years ago, I coined the word yoga, Pilates, Tai Chi into Yogi Lachi and opened up studios. And that is a practice that I do to this day and have many. I've gone, thousands of clients have gone through that Yoga Lachi practice. It's a lifestyle, it's not a program that you do and you check off your checklist. It's a lifestyle.
Mhm.
And so that evolved.
Mhm.
And then, in terms of just knowing that you want to make a bigger impact. So, as a business owner, you want to you want to definitely pay the bills. You want to have something that is viable and ideally that can expand and scale. And business owner, you don't think you're going to put yourself into a job, but a lot of times that is exactly what happens, is that I'm going to be an entrepreneur or a business owner, but they're actually creating an incredible, they're almost becoming a slave to it. And this is where I started to see enormous breakdown, disconnect, and burnout very quickly. So I would see these incredibly creative and insightful, innovative leaders. They wanted to create something amazing, and yet they were burning out and sick, or they were, ill.
Yeah.
I know sick is now, hey, it's sick. No, they were literally ill, not feeling well. This disease, all this kind of thing going on. I'm like, what's wrong with this picture? Why can't we have a successful business or be in a successful leadership role, whether it's an executive in a business, and also have well-being and have the energy and have the wherewithal to maybe enjoy the money that you start making, right?
Right.
So this was the question I was asking myself 20 plus years ago because I would see this. I myself was an executive and being a president in a nonprofit that was a global organization that had very, very high drive.
Mhm.
I found myself burning out. I thought, this is crazy. I'm exercising. Wait a minute, what's wrong with this picture? And the key that I discovered and why I put yoga, Pilates, Tai Chi together
Mhm.
into Yoga Lachi is that it's that all off time that most, especially business owners, don't give themselves permission to be all off because they think they have to be doing the next thing, the next, and that's because they don't have a strategy. That is because they are not clear on their plan, on their strategy, on their purpose. I could just go and break it down on what their next right action is, and that then disperses their energy, and then that's the next step is burnout,
Yeah.
right?
So
You
many
can't sustain
people.
that.
Yeah. When they'll, anybody that says they are own their own business, self-employed, you know, I've heard so many people say, you're always on call, so you're always thinking about it. You're never off work. So I get what you're saying because they can't separate life outside of that. And
Yeah,
so,
and that's boundaries 101.
yeah.
That's super, super important. But that scenario right there is something that I see repeating in their financial life,
Mm.
in their personal life, in their health and well-being and what they're eating. So it's all connected. And that's truly why I take a very holistic approach. I'm looking at the whole person, 360 degrees, not just who they are behind the desk
Yeah. Yeah.
or
Uh,
on the stage.
yeah.
Mhm.
Um, so a lot of when you talk about their health, a lot of the mental part, because we have mental health, which is very important. And a
Crucial.
lot of times, our mental state, whether it's completely stressed, burnout, anxious, how am I going to, I didn't make any money this month, or, I had a really bad month. And so you start stressing and over. So, how much does the mind affect our other health, our bodily health?
Everything. That's so it's the mind first, right? Everything happens in the mind first.
Mhm.
And one of the things, all those pieces that you just mentioned, those are all symptoms. It's a symptom of lack of clarity. And when the mind is not clear, it's going to be it's going to be looking for solutions to problems that it thinks it has when it doesn't have problems, and it's going to make problems. So that's a whole tangled, crazy mess.
Mhm.
And there is no way for a business owner to go from point A to point B. They won't get to their point where they're trying to get to when they're all over the place, going in circles, zigzagging, ping ponging, right?
Yeah.
And that all starts in the mind.
Yeah, I've heard so many people. I mean, and I believe it. When you are that stressed, you don't get enough sleep, and you don't eat right because you're, busy all the time. You don't have time to prepare and do it the right way. You're stressed. It affects your immune system. It affects so many things. So you do get sick.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not useful. I mean, it's not sustainable. And honestly, it doesn't have to be that way. There are minor things that you can do to shift a lot of times. So I'll share with you my Pilot Your Way method. And this is something that I created when I was learning to be a pilot and myself completely stressed
Hmm.
during the process, mostly because I had a lot of book knowledge, but I didn't know how to apply it in the actual plane. And unless you have someone who's really competent, who's going to guide you, thank goodness I had that,
Mhm.
you're not going to make it to your destination whole. So I use this analogy and an acronym, Pilot Your Way method, to help the business owner, the leader, move from that point A to point B to make it to their destination whole, intact. And it starts with practicing presence. So that's your P. So many times our mental energy is distracted. I hear this now, this doom scrolling. What? Who? It's so funny because I'll hear, well, I don't have time to do this. I don't have time to do this. I'm like, okay. And yet you're spending probably 10 hours a week scrolling on your phone. Why? That's how I have to veg out. You're not, so that's a disconnect right there. You're you are depleting, you are sucking the energy out of your life by your attention being on that. And if you did nothing else but shut the phone off, literally move, get the digital world off certain times of your day and literally completely unplug and go out and be in nature and be present
Mhm.
to your family, to your breath, to your uh, to the moment you're picking up the water to drink it and being fully present,
Mhm.
that will do more for your central nervous system to come back into the moment now,
Mhm.
that you can then start to make decisions from a better place. When you're making decisions, and you're not really making decisions from a stressed place, you're only reacting.
Mhm.
But when you can make a decision from a place where you are present, that's your next step, which is to intend. So the I, being very intentional in your next step. Anybody who's doom scrolling or facelessly scrolling or whatever that folks do, right, to be distracted from because they're confused, that is so indicative of what you are investing in for your future. So if your attention is all over scrolling or all over the place, you have no intention. So that's again that dispersed energy. And if you put it into the airplane and we take that analogy and go back to we're going to, first of all, we have to know absolutely where we're going.
Yeah.
And we also have to know, so how much can our vessel actually take? The first plane I flew was 1,600 pounds max. So we knew we couldn't have multiple passengers. How much did my vessel weigh? How much did my packs weigh to get across country for my solo? I had to think about all of that and to prepare and to plan.
Mhm.
Most business owners are winging it, and that is not a business model. That's how you crash and burn.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take that much time to actually get present, get intentional, and know what, like decide where you're going. Because you have to decide. To be intentional, you have to decide. And most of the time, I find that when someone is struggling, they haven't made a decision. They've only said, I want that.
Mhm.
That's not a decision. I want lots of things.
Mhm.
What are you committed to? What are you intending? And what's your inner stance about that? Are you going to commit to that 100%? Or you just want it because it's nice, but then when it gets too hard, right? So moving on, the process for all of us is that we come back to being present and check in,
Yeah.
right? We check in. What's my intention? I'll send it back to you to see how this is landing.
No, it's awesome because I can see myself throughout so many things in my life by what you're saying that I've done exactly what you're saying people do. And I don't know if it's, just like the scrolling or whatever. Is it an avoidance? Is it a
Yeah,
procrastination?
absolutely.
Is it?
It's your attention has been hijacked. Now, really get this. There is an enormous amount of, as a business owner, we have the option to use social media and to use these platforms to create business. So this there's this push-pull, love-hate polarity that we're having to deal with. The thing is, you have to know what you are about as a business owner and what you are trying to create and put into the world. Uh, I I know people who are video game designers and they make a lot of money. And that's something that they want to do. They want to capture people's attention. That's unethical and immoral to me because I know what it does. I know the addictions that it causes. It's, and so that's my own personal judgment on that.
Hmm.
But my point in saying that is this: you have to decide whether or not you're going to be a user or you're going to use the tools that have been created specifically for the purpose of grabbing your attention. So now,
Hmm.
if you know that that is the nature of the beast,
Yeah.
right? So it's like the old fable. The what is it? The something swims across the water, and the snake says, "Oh, just give me a ride across. I won't bite you." And so he's okay. He takes him across, and then right when he gets onto the end, right, he bites him, and then the frog, you boat us now. We're both going down. I was like, well, that's my nature. Okay, so you have to understand that is the nature of that beast, and those that create that. That is where you then have to go and put up the walls.
Turn it off, put it down.
You have to, or you will be sucked into that because that is the nature of it,
I've heard
right?
people say, don't be a consumer, be a creator.
Yeah, absolutely. And user also, right? Because it's very addicting. It's supposed to be, it was made that way. That is the nature of it.
I get it. Yeah.
Now, yeah, if you as a business owner have your own integrity and you're leading from that place, which is, by the way, is the number one thing for a leader is integrity.
Amen. Yep.
You then can decide what impact are you going to make by putting out your message and getting the right clients and the right people to show up and want to have your service or your product.
Hmm.
Now we're talking. Now you can start to feel there's some energy.
Hmm.
Oh, I've got some wind beneath my wings. I feel some lift. Oh, okay. Now my plan is to impact 10,000 people every year and grow that exponentially by my product or getting my service out. Now, there's more lift, right? Good. If you're clear and that's your intention, I'm going to impact them with my product that's this wonderful product, right? So we're clear on that. Then we go and let go of anything else that does not completely
I love that.
foster that energy, forward that thrust.
Yeah. I,
That's the L,
yeah.
letting go.
Letting go. I ask
Yep.
myself sometimes too, because we all like get tempted or, catch yourself doing, I get on my phone to look up something, and then I see something, then I'm totally side. Oh, it's like squirrel. And then you're like 15 minutes like, dang it, put it down and get back to work. But oh shoot, where was I going with that?
Well, I will tell you this. I
Yeah.
think all of us should have built-in time blocks. Go and time blocks out. Okay, I like scrolling. I like watching such and such show. Give yourself the time block that. So when you complete your top 3 actions that need to get done for today, boom, go and have your thing, right? But you need to have your self-care dialed in, your mindset right, and then go do those things. Go watch the movie, go do whatever it is with intention and be present to it. This is what I say to all of my clients with regards to food, because food, it's your fuel.
Yeah.
I will never put anyone on a diet. Diets, I wrote this book in the 80s. Danger, diets, right? Don't, why are we doing that? The word right in it is die, stop. So, what you want to do is you become present to every bite, even if it's delicious chocolate or a pizza. Just be fully present, smell it, bite into it, chew it, savor it
Yeah. I did
with
that
the
one time.
intention of, right?
There
So
was
anything.
Yeah, I've always thought, diets, I've done them all. And there was one that they did do that, and they had you take a Pringle and they wanted you to taste it and like suck on it and notice how it changed taste because it tastes totally different if you really slow down and
If you are present and
yes,
intentional.
yes,
Absolutely.
yes, I
Absolutely.
remember that so vividly. Vividly.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
it works. And it snaps you out of the hypnosis and this hypnotic, droning, scrolling nonsense.
yeah,
Come
I
back to being present, be intentional.
I'm
Yep.
thinking, I'm doing something I'm like, or if I something comes about and then somebody says you want to go do this, or and I always am getting in a habit of asking myself, does this, help me get to where I'm going, where I want to go?
That's a good question. If you know where you're going, that's a really good question to ask.
Is this going to help me get there? Because there's a lot of times that I find myself, when you're with friends or whatever, and you're just sitting around and gossiping and all, I mean, it's just wasted time to me.
Right,
And
right.
I don't, and it's not furthering me to my goals and my dreams. And so
That's where you start clipping off and letting go.
you do.
You have to let go to get lift off. You have to let go of
I like
even the
that.
good
Yeah,
to go great. Yeah.
yeah. So I love talking about energy. I've got stuff on my walls about energy. That was my word for 24. So it's still something that, it's just a word I like to always remember, positive energy, good energy, and not just physical, but just good mind energy. How do you help people keep a good positive energy so that they are performing at their best?
I love using tools that are simple and free and that we want to master. It is like sharpening the saw to chop down a tree. Your breath is one of the most powerful tools you have to restore your energy. And I'll tell you, one of the things that I see so much too, actually, I'll see when I'm watching someone speak
Mhm,
or when I'm watching. So oftentimes, if I'm working with a client locally, I will go into their office and essentially I will shadow them. And then I will write up and create a strategic plan with them.
mhm,
And I actually am observing their physical nuances, and I will oftentimes see the breath. They're breathing when they're doubting themselves, or they'll just completely hold their breath, or
mhm,
they'll just breathe in the upper chest when
mhm.
they're speaking, and the breath all the way down into the diaphragm. If you think about it, this is what I teach in Yoga Lachi. It's the complete yogic breath all the way down into the lower diaphragm, breathing in, filling that up completely, then bringing new breath in, filling the lungs like an accordion, then filling up the upper lungs. And that's about 20, the upper lungs are only about 20%. Then
Mhm.
you've got the 40% in the lung area here, and then the diaphragm 40% there. So 40, 40, 20.
Okay.
So many people I see just breathing in the upper 20%. So that's a lot of capacity
Is
that's being unused. And
attention?
so I would, yes,
Okay.
locking down. They're tight. If they're stressed. So it's one of the things that I will do instead, and I suggest that we all try this right now, is exhaling. When you're stressed, the body locks down and holds on the breath.
Makes you hold.
Don't take
Yeah.
another breath in until you empty to nothing. That is going to let the brain know that it's safe, and then it can breathe again. Listen, unless you are literally being a gun is to your head, or we don't have saber-toothed tigers anymore. So this stress factor is just ridiculous, that we're allowing ourselves to become stuck in a fight or flight state, which is very dangerous. Our cortisol being shoved up that high and locked in place, and then it flowing through our body 24/7, that is a recipe for burnout. It is a recipe for illness and disease because cortisol needs to move through your body. We want it. We want enough cortisol to get us to be able to run or to wake us up in the morning, but then we need to move it out, right?
Yeah.
So, movement, crucial. Those are the two things. If
Agree.
I see that like a business owner who's sitting at their desk for the 11th hour and they have not gotten up to move,
Yeah.
their water's right there, their assistant brings them stuff. What is going on? Well, they hurt, they don't want to, it's easier to, I've got to get this deadline. Wow, the diminishing returns
Yeah.
at 20 minutes of sitting, that's where you lose your performance. So I'd rather you work in chunks of 50 minutes where you're up, you move. Even standing desks are a misnomer because people will stand at their standing desk and just be stuck hunched over. No, your body is meant to move. It needs to move through space. There's so many studies on this. The guys that came back from NASA and they didn't move in their bone density and they're in their 30s
Yeah.
and they're like age of 80 in their bones. We don't have to do this. That physical diminishment in our energy impacts your energy so greatly, your mental energy, because the mental being in chronic state of stress is because the physical body is feeling that and the cortisol is stuck in the body. So
What?
enough there. And by the way, stuck cortisol, you will never lose weight no matter how much you starve yourself if there is cortisol in your system.
Hmm.
That is why women especially, well, men too with the big tummies, that's cortisol that has been just stuck there and the hormones are out of balance, right? So we got to dial that in. Okay.
Reason though today why it's so much stress is so much more prevalent and cortisol levels seem to be out of whack because of scrolling and things like
Well, yes, our thoughts about it, because our brain cannot differentiate between what's real and uh, and anything that they're showing you on the screen. Do you know, I saw this statistic where a child by the age of 5 years old has seen over 16,000 simulations of murder by the time they are 5 years old.
that.
That's insane. That's insane. But this is a statistic that came out now that's like all kinds of craziness. There's no way the brain can process this. And people think, oh, it's just a movie. No, you may think it's just a movie, but your body and your brain don't differentiate.
I,
Now you have that in your subconscious, and that is running your main powerhouse that I call your powerhouse of your mental capacity.
mhm.
You've just diminished it because it's in your subconscious
Yeah.
programming. Yuck.
I have heard too that the brain can't differentiate between a negative, like I'm not going to eat a bunch, and so you're just hearing eat, eat instead of not eat, or I'm trying to get a better example, but
No,
how,
you're right. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to stop smoking. I'm not going to have any more debt. I'm going to, right? So
brain is
you
hearing
want to
smoking.
communicate the positive.
You're hearing smoking.
I'm going to be financially free.
Yeah.
I am I am earning this amount of money. I am excited about my delicious meal of I love eating great food or these kinds of things. Yes. Because emotion, energy, they go together, right? Emotion is energy in motion. So you want to watch that your emotion is at a frequency of ideally love or above. And when you start getting lower, it's a much denser frequency. It's much heavier.
Yeah.
And it's much easier to manipulate you at that stage.
I
And
think
why I say that is because look what's on the news, look what's on your scroll, all of it. It lowers you down. Believe me, if you were in a vibration of love or above, you would not be spending any time on your phone unless it was to watch a picture of your newborn baby or to have a conversation with someone you love, because there's so much more out there. There's so much more in this world that you can tap into when you get out of that lower, low frequency.
yeah.
I can talk about it in the plane. You need to raise up. Your altitude needs to be raised, your attitude raise up, right? There's lots of analogies. Yeah.
There's so many people, and I know a lot that are they you know, use a lot of foul language and they say, "Oh, I hate that person and I can't stand them." And I've always just been one that hate is such a strong word. It's strong like love, but I don't use it. You
Words are very powerful.
I just don't use that word,
Hmm.
especially at people, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
but a lot of times it's from people who are pessimistic and complainers and the victim and because they stay down there, they can't get out because that's their thoughts, they can't even
Right.
get off the ground, much less fly.
That's where you have to get present and be intentional and decide in this moment. And each of us has to do that. And then we have to decide who do we want to be surrounding ourselves with?
And so
What is it that I'm here to create? What is it that I want to put out in the world? These are the questions that are so important for us to ask as business owners, as leaders.
And to start a
Because,
business, these are such great, great questions to ask yourself and to think about before starting. So you already are going to be in the right direction and flip-flopping around. You're just like winging it, like you said. If you can
yeah,
start out on the right foot and know where you're going, make a decision, be
so much easier.
yeah,
Yeah.
this
I'll
is
share with you really quickly the O and the T for the pilot your way. So the key to a lot of this is to be able to step back and get that 50,000-foot view, even if you could get a 10-foot view and just get exterior to it so that you can observe what's going on. So much of us get stuck into this microcosm and we can't even look at what's going on. I really suggest we all take some time to observe. And that O is the observation, noticing without judging, because
yeah.
there's a lot of judgment that goes on. And the moment we set foot in judgment, we've now created more of this polarity, right?
Mhm.
They're bad, pointing fingers, all of that. I just want you to observe and come back to what is it I'm here to do? Right? And that's an important question as a leader. What is it I am here to do and that only I can do? And once you've observed and really understood for yourself whatever's going on, now that tool right there can be used for any situation, for conflicts, for meetings. You just step back and observe and then go back to here I am in present. What's my intention? What's my intention right now with you or in this meeting or today or right? Once you understand that and you've let go of the interference and
Mhm.
you're going to have to still observe when there is interference and not get sucked into it.
Mhm.
And that's where we use the right tools. So T is tools. And we all have the ability to use tools and to avail ourselves of effective tools. So many times there are countless tools out there.
Yeah.
And
There's
I'll go in and I'll work with um, creating a strategy for a business owner, and we'll go in and we'll look at their toolbox.
mhm.
And some of those tools need to be jettisoned because they're not workable. They're not workable for where they're wanting to go and the destination they want to get to, right? So this is where, because we live in a society and a culture that we're being bombarded by messages and ideas and concepts and tools every single day. We have to take personal responsibility to decide what is it we want.
Yeah.
That's your intention. That's your job, actually. That is your responsibility. And the work that you're here to do is to know clearly who you are, make the decision, intend, let go. And it's like deadheading. I'm out there deadheading my roses. I'm like, oh, I don't want to let go of these beautiful roses. Nope, they got to go so I can see the rest of it, right? So it can continue to grow and thrive and blossom.
Yep.
And that's the game we're playing. And we just have to understand this isn't a checklist that you check off. We have to get over that. And we have to understand that life is a process. And it's about progress, not perfection in life. If you are better than you were yesterday, let's celebrate that.
Won the day.
Yeah,
That's a win.
exactly. And yeah, it's good.
Good. I love it. I love it. I could sit here and listen to this all day. But I don't want to keep her any longer. She has given us such a good 30, 35 minutes or whatever she's done here, maybe 40,
Okay.
I don't know. But anyway, she is a wealth of knowledge, and I love stuff like this because um, I just resonate because I want to help people, and I'm a guide too. I want to say, oh, veer them in the right direction if they're veering off. And if you're there with them, a lot of people try to do it solo. They get there, but it takes a lot longer
Yeah,
and it makes it a lot harder. And sometimes they don't finish. So having somebody to just to guide you and
exactly. I mean, that is, the adage of the flight,
I,
the pilot is there to course correct
yeah,
because you put the destination in.
yeah,
And if you look at any airplane, they're off target, they're off course about 90+% of the time. It's the tiny increments of course correcting that makes all the difference. And the
that's,
thing is, if you
no,
overcorrect,
yeah.
that's where you tailspin.
And like you said, you have to be good and present to be able to know
Yes,
when you're veering.
that's right.
Not,
That's
you
right.
might go way off and it's going to take a lot longer to get
And
back.
it's painful and it's needlessly painful.
Yeah, waste of
The
time,
more you can
money,
simplify.
yeah,
Yeah.
so many things. All right.
Yes, I know. Okay.
If you haven't already,
Good.
in your email, she's given you all, there's a free gift from Stephana, and it's going to give you a guide to,
Yeah, I'm going to share the powered on. I'm going to give them my daily routine because that since we talked about the pilot your way method, it's right there in that so that you can bookend your day. You start your day present and intentional, and you end your day that way. In such a beautiful way, it will change the trajectory of your business and your life, just implementing that one simple thing. And I would love to gift that to your audience. So
yes.
powerhouseleaders.com, the daily power routine guide, and they will definitely help if you're leaking any energy. Yeah, it will definitely help clean up
And I
the
know
leak.
we all are at times. So don't forget to go back if you haven't already. Click that link and get that gift from Stefana. It could just if you follow. I mean, you have to do it, but it could change your life, and it will if you probably do it. So it probably more than likely will. And thank you again so much. This has been something that anybody could benefit from, and I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.